Consulting's webinar series for our Michell University. Today we're going to be working with Infor FACTS, and we're going to be talking about different ways to customize facts in the inquiries, in the reports, and in some of the documents, again, to make it easier for you to get data and to basically streamline facts. For the purpose of the demo today, we're going to be using FACTS 7.8 for our demo. This webinar is being recorded. It'll be available on our website, so you can visit us at www.mitchellgroup.com to view this, plus the others in our training series. So let's begin. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to look at and what we're going to actually see here. I have facts opened up, and again, let's talk about first some customizations we can do to the inquiry. So here we're going to go from our menu, we're going to go into sales order. And let's go to inquiries, and let's look here at an inquiry window. So we can do a few things with this. We can set some options. You can see here that we have this options available. Now this is also set within the authorizations or the setting up. So what I'm showing you today, I have full authorization to do this, but you can actually control what can be changed and what can be set up and which users can actually make these changes. One of the things that what's nice is that we can do is we can use this synchronization inquiry. So we know that working with facts, we can log into more than one session. So we can have multiple sessions open. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to go here and I'm going to turn on the synchronization. You can see that we're now synchronized. And what this allows us to do is have multiple screens open. So I have also down here a sales order open. It's going to kind of show you how this is going to work. Let's just back out of this sales order for a minute. So here you can see that we have a sales order inquiry open, and we have here this customer C100. This is nice because what I can do is, again, like we said, we can log into facts several times. So I can have, say, the customer sales inquiry open, I can have the item inquiry open, and so on, and I can have those synchronized. So you can see here we have this customer, the last customer we have C100. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to actually pick another customer. So let me pick C104. I'm going to click that, and you'll see when that comes over what happens here. The synchronization actually grabs that information excuse me, and brings it up into here. So now we have that information. So again, this is a nice functionality to set up when you're dealing, because you have all the information in front of you. When you're actually entering orders, you can easily go here, and then you can see, again, all the different orders for this customer and everything, again, pricing for this customer, and you have it all right here. Again, if we go in here, just go back, and you can see we have the C104 here, and let's just pick this one here, C111. The minute I do that, you'll see here that it's synchronized to that. So again, nice functionality. So again, you can see all the pricing and everything for that customer. That's one of the things you can do. I'm just going to actually turn the synchronization off for right now. And let's talk about some of the other functionalities that we can do as far as setting up. So you can see right now we have all in the views here, we have our blanket orders, our materials, hazmat information, and so on. So I don't use a lot of these. I want to actually change this because maybe I don't use blanket orders. I don't use this. I go into general a lot. I don't want to have to go way down to the bottom and so on. What I can do is I can go in here and I can set different view preferences. I can click on this and I can say, okay, what do I really want to see and how do I want to do it? So for example, blanket orders, okay, we're going to go here and we're going to hide blanket orders. So you can see that's hidden. The materials here, we're going to also hide that. Okay, so we click OK. And now we come back in, we can see here that we don't have it anymore. Blanket orders are now off the screen, and the materials resource hazmat information is also off the screen. If I want to move the different order here, again, I can go in. I can go to my view preferences. I can go and let's say general. We want to make that a favorite. Let's click OK. You can see now how general went to the top. These are nice little things you can do within the system. So again, now I have my general on the top and I have my order second. So I have it kind of customized the way I want to do it. You can also go in here, and again, you can do that. You can have this auto open again. You can also do some other information as far as having it hidden, like we saw. And again, we can reset. If I clear this, it's going to basically blank everything else out. But again, then I want to have pricing. Let's make that a favorite as well. We click OK. And see, now I have pricing and then my general and so on. So I can have this information set up. Very simple. Again, very easy to set up with. We can also do that here. We can also use what's known as smart views. What smart views will do is that when I turn that on, it'll actually, every time you go in here and start selecting, it'll actually kind of do that favorite for you. So if I go in here a lot and I'm constantly clicking on contracts, after a while, it's going to start moving contracts up the list. So you can do a smart view, again, that sets it up that way. If I click Reset Smart View, it's just going to clear the history and start again. So if you want to just set that, you can set that. And what FACTS will do is as you start going in, it'll start realizing which ones you go to and kind of start prioritizing them here on the screen. Okay, so that was in our view preferences here that we saw. We can also go into, again, like we said, we can open this in a new window. We can also do the same here. So let's say here when I click to do a search, I'm getting this information. So right now I'm sorting by alpha. Okay, I have my alpha, my customer, my name, my city, and this information. Okay, but again, when I come in here, I don't really want to sort by alpha. I want to sort by, let's say, customer. I like to search that way. I know the numbers better than the alpha. I want to do it that way. What I can do is the same principle. I can actually go to my options, and I can go to my preferences in here, and I can set my preferences. So here what I'm going to do is my default, remember it was alpha, I can default it to go by customer. I can save this as a user default. So if I do it this way, this becomes my default every time I actually go into this window. I can also select the columns. So again, here you can see how I have name, customer, and then I have name, and so on. So maybe I want to put the sales territory here. So let's say after the here where the name is, I want to select, and I can kind of move this over here. Okay, so you can see the sales. If I want to move things around, let's say I want to have the sales territory, say after the zip code, I can just move it over here, click where I want it, and move it back. Okay, so now I have the sales territory right here. So these are all the availables. I don't have these. If I don't use them, again, I don't want to really clutter my screen. Let's say I don't have here a contact too. I want to get that out of the screen and so on. So I can do all this stuff. I can save it. Okay, so now when I go back in and I click here, you can see how it came up with customer search. It came up with the customer and so on. And you can see that I put the sales territory right here after the address. So you can actually set that up. So again, it makes it easier for you to work with. So every time I come in, I can do it this way. So now when I go in and I do my searches, again, I like to do it by customer. So it's just a matter of grabbing the customer. All right. Again, and that's available on, you can see that in almost all the sales inquiries. If we exit this and we go to another inquiry, like again, item inquiry, we have the same functionality. Here we can go in, we can set the synchronizations, again, and all the different things here. Everything is the same. So again, this is a nice little functionality to have. Again, it lets you actually set things up, makes it easier for you when you're searching data, when you have a client or a customer on the phone, and you want to access the stuff quickly, you have it here. It makes it a lot easier for you. So that's under the inquiries. Another thing that we can do is we can go into the reports and we can create the same type of principle with reports using templates. So let's go here to say an order status report. Okay, so you can see here, again, this comes up with some information. You can see template. I don't really have a template down here. But again, this is a report that I run a lot, but I run it very specifically. I run it for certain things. So I don't want to have to come in here every time and say, okay, every time I want to run this report, I want it by customer. You know, I want customer, let's say here to here. Okay. I want all warehouses. Yeah, I want to change certain things. You know, whatever. I just kind of run it this way. What I can do is I can set this up. I can also set the printer. Let's go to print options. So let's take it here and let's just put it to file. And again, in this print option, I can also have multiples too. So I can do certain things. I can say how many copies I want. You know, each time I print it, I can actually set my margins, and I can also go to multiple. So I can say, okay, every time I do this, I want one to be archived, one to be printed, one to be viewed, and so on. I can get and set all that information up. I'm just going to do it this way. Let's just save that because I didn't save it. Click OK. So you can see now down here. So again, what I do is I have this all set up the way I want it. I can go here to templates, and I can create a template. So I'm going to call this the demo template. And again, I could do a couple things. I can make it a system template. What that means, it's available throughout FACTS, so other users can use it. I can set it as my default template, so it comes up automatically, or I can leave it just like this. So let's just leave it like this. Click OK, and you can see I have that. So let's cancel and go back in. Okay. Since I did not set it as my, here you can see that I set it up to come in, and you can see now that I'm using the demo plate right here. The template is the demo. So demo came up, so you can see it brought my information in. So it has the customers that I set up and everything I set. You can see it's all here. Again, I can go and I can look at that. I can select it from here. I can also go here and select. I can make changes to it. I can look at the properties of that demo. Okay, you can see I set it as my default template. Let's take it off default. Again, I can cancel, I can delete, I can do whatever I want if I want to delete one. I want to take it off to see this way. So now the template's there, but it's not my default template. So again, you can see when I open up the report, it went to the standard default. You can see the order here, and there's no customers and all that. So again, I can just come here, and I can have these multiple templates. Let's say I have it for different regions or different salespeople. All I have to do is click on my demo, and now I have it here. So again, makes it nice in the system to set that up. If I have to run these reports a lot, or I have to do this, let's say I have to do it for certain like customer groups or items and so on. Again, it just makes it a lot easier for me to look at. It makes it easier for me to work with. It just speeds up the process within FACTS. Okay, and again, that is available in all the reports. So if I take any type of report, and again, you have to set up the authorizations for it. Again, you can see here. See, and that's a system template here, demo, okay, which I can actually set up because I have the multiple printers. I can do that. But again, I can set up whatever I want, and I can create all these templates here, you know, just by creating a template. I can look at the properties of the templates I have. And again, you have it here because, see, I have it set up as a system template. Okay, so it's available in the system itself. I'm just going to take that off. So on. The other thing that we can do is we can customize what we see in the documents and how it works. So you see I have this sales order open down here. Let's open that one up again. Okay, and in the sales order, we have some information, what we see on the screen, and how we navigate within here. So let's just go back here. So you can see, again, I'm just going to call up this first customer. And notice that what happens is how the cursor jumps to the ship to. So if I press tab, it goes here into the date. Okay, so and then when I tab, it goes to reference. When I tab, it goes to ship via, and when it tabs, I go to contact. So I can set what I want to see on the screen, how I go into it, if I need to back into something, and so on. And what that is done is if I go here, so I'm back in sales order, I'm going to go to file maintenance and the infrequent file maintenance. And here I'm going to go to the SO entry options. This is also available on the purchasing side. From the purchasing side standpoint, I'm going to do it on sales for purposes of this demo today because it works the same way. And again, this is set with authorizations, so what you would do is if people are not authorized to do this, you may not want to do it because I have several salespeople. I want all the screens to look the same and get the same look and feel, so it's the same. Again, I can select my document type, so I have all the documents here. Okay, we're going to talk about order entry. So you can see ship to where it says here, your option. Notice when I went, it went right to the ship to. So what I can do is I can have that yes for edit. I can have no to skip it. I can have the back into, so if I skip it, I can just jump back into it, or I can completely disable it. Again, let's say for purposes of this, my ship tos are the same. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to skip the ship to. All right, I can do the same thing with the order information here, and so on. So let's just do that one for now, and let's save it. Okay, let's go back here. Let's just go back in. I might have to log out. Let me just see if I have to log out. Okay, no, I have to actually. Let's go back in again. And you can see what happens, how it completely skipped that. See? So what it did, it skipped it, and it jumped right to the date. Remember before, it stopped here, and it tabbed to the date. So now it skipped that information because I had it skip here. What I can also do, these other fields here, you can do a couple things. These are going to be on the screen. You can also set information on other stuff. Like here I have the reference, the ship via, and the contract. Well, I don't really need the contract. You know, I don't use it. So what I can do here is I can go down to the information here. See, it tells you here that you see that the reference is on the screen. Okay, you see the ship via is on the screen. You see that the contract is on the screen. So what you can do is you have one thing. You can obviously, if they're on the screen, you want it to be on the screen so you can edit it. You have that same thing where you can edit it, you can skip it, you can back into it, which means you can just go backspace into it, or you can completely disable it. So here, just for simple purposes, I'm going to take the contact, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say no. So I don't want it on the screen. Again, I'm going to save. Let's go back here. Let's go back into order entry, and you can see I don't have the contact here anymore. Okay. So this is nice. I can do this. I can do it at the header level, and I can do it at the line level. So again, it speeds up the process. It helps you, especially with a lot of people who do a lot of order entry. You have customers at a counter. You need to get them in and out. Okay, a lot of customers at the counter. You're not going to be asking ship tos. You're not going to be putting references, and so on. So you can do that information. I'm just going to turn that one back on. So, and the difference between screen and here is, yes, that screen puts it on this one, and then the no and yes deal with the detail. So for example, see you have the header detail here. So let me just save that real quick. Actually, let's do this. Let's make contact. Let's take it off the screen and let's make it yes. Okay, let me just exit and come back in again. So what I'm doing is that it's not going to be on the actual screen here. Okay, but since I have it yes, if I go in into the header detail, see, now it came up because I have the contact set up as yes. So it's not on the main screen, but it's here. Okay, and I can also get to it if I do F4 and I go to the header, you can see it here. So what happens is that you can actually set the information to be here. Okay, and you can actually set here for the different codes, and here's the contact. So the screen that you see here means it's on this main screen. Now, also bear in mind, you only have so much real estate on that header screen. So you can't put too many fields on this screen. So what you want to do is the fields that you use the most, you want to have those on this main header screen here, because I have to access that. Let's say I have to enter a reference for every order. So I want on the main screen. But let's say I still need access to the reference, but I don't use it all the time. What I would do is I would make it, I would have it here as being editable, okay, but I wouldn't put it on the screen. I would just put a yes, which means it's not going to be on the main screen, but it's going to be on the detail screen. So that's what this means here. You see these on the screen. So obviously here is the field itself, which are all the same. So yes, you can edit the field, you can skip the field, back into it, or you completely disable the field. Here is if you have the S for screen, it's going to go on this main screen. If you have no, it's not going to be anywhere. And if you have yes, it's going to be on the details. So you have the header details and the line details, which would be on that screen. So typically, you want to speed up the process. Things that you would use all the time, you would put on this screen. And the other ones you would set up not to be on the main screen, but to be on the detail screen. Okay, and again, you have that same information. So here, if we go and we add an item, okay, again, you'll see what you're seeing here. So if I go here and I go, here's the two different, again, here's the second header, okay, which is some information, but here's the line. So again, what we see on the line, okay, so we see here that we have the order quantity, the committed, the back order, all this stuff, the price. The cost is back into and it's not required. Okay, that's why you don't really see it here, and so on. You have all this information. Again, you can customize what you see here, and again, make it more efficient for when you actually do that. You have the footer. Again, here, what you want to see in the footer of the, again, if you want access to the memos and all that stuff, maybe you don't use discounts, you don't use freight, and so on. Header options, okay, you can see those prompts that are coming up, like here's one of them right here. Okay, that actually came up from the lines. But you can see, remember when we were doing it before, you saw those prompts. So the balance came up, the credit came up, and this stuff came up. The line options, again, you have all the information on the line options here. Again, what you're going to see in the pricing, how you're going to handle certain things, if you're going to display gross margin, you want to do the warnings. Again, all the information you can set up here. Okay, what you see down here in these items here, committed, the pricing, again, the breaks, everything you want to see you can set up. You have the totals as well. What do you want to see in the totals? Again, display total weight, total units. You have all that information available. Flags is something you can do. You can flag information like, again, back orders, flag if it's a drop ship, a direct ship, flag if it's temporary, and so on. And then your notes. Like in this case, I have it for the customer notes to do urgent only. Okay, so I have urgent only. I can also do all notes, again, or no notes. So I can do, let's say in this case, I want urgent only. Document notes and lines, I don't want to have them here. But again, I could kind of do the same thing here and make everything urgent. The nice thing about that is that when you create a note for a customer or an item and so on, if you can flag it as urgent, and then it shows up. Because this might be important. This customer may be having a credit issue. Okay, there's a lot of notes on the customer about other things that the operator or the sales order person doesn't need to see. But I want urgent only notes to pop up, and then I'm going to say, hey, be careful with this customer. Make sure that only so-and-so orders from this customer, and whatever we want to do, we can do it that way. Again, so we can save that. So if we kind of go, let's go back here. Let's kind of F4 back. I want to get out. It's not going to let me get out here. Let's just do an order. We'll just go ahead and do the order. And again, so you can see these little windows popping up. We set it up. So here again, we can see all the information here. So let's just go File. Let's just delete this document. And again, we have the notes set up because here we're doing this integration because we're using the relationship management in my demo. So we do have we actually have, if you go to our website, we have a nice webinar on the relationship management, which that's where that contact stuff came in. So it's a nice function to have here. So again, let's just see now. So now when I want to show you when I picked up this customer, see how this came up, because again, we told it to bring that stuff up. See, the balance came up, credit limit came up, all that kind of stuff came up. Let's just go through here. And again, there's that contact because it's required. This is part of the relationship management. Again, nice functionality to have. And again, you can see here, let's skip that quote information. And again, you can see the warehouse quantity coming up because we asked over here. All the information here. The warehouse prompts, and so on. This is order 1, let's ship 1. Again, all that's coming up because I asked it in my settings. Some people don't like all that. They like to just take that out of there. It just kind of creates a problem in the information. So again, you can see how you can set all that information up. Again, you can go all your deposits. You have all your notes you can see coming up here and so on. So let's just go here, and again, you see the footer information coming up. Okay, again, what we saw here. Oops, here in the footer, see we have the memo is being editing, so we can edit the memo. This other stuff we're just going to calculate. And again, this is part of the relationship management. Again, nice functionality because it's tracking everything. So it lets me know that this customer we generated a sales order for. Okay, so let's kind of review what we went over today. We talked about ways to customize and make some settings for our facts to make it more efficient. We talked about how to set the preferences in the inquiries. So if we go into inquiries, we know that we can go here. We can do a few things with inquiries. We can set synchronization. That allows this to synchronize with other screens. So again, when I'm entering a sales order for a specific customer or item, that information will come up in the inquiry screens for me. You can use smart views, which the system will kind of generate what you go in as far as the views and kind of start building which ones you go into most, start moving those up in the ranking, making those first on the list. You can also set those preferences here. If you look at the view preferences, again, you can hide info things. You can automatically open certain stuff. You can also set them as favorites. Again, in this case, we do not use blanket orders, so we want to take the stuff off the screen we don't want to use. We can also do the same on how we search. Again, we can set how we search. We can set our sort by and what we see on the screen, again, by going into our preferences. So we can set all that information up. We can save this as a user default. So as long as, no matter where I go, what terminal I log into, as long as I log in with my login, all this is going to follow me through. We also saw in the reports that in our reports we can create templates, which are kind of nice. So we can go here to, so here is a standard the way it comes up. And if I run reports with a lot of unique fields and settings, I don't want to have to do it each time. All I have to do is go to template and click that, and you can see it fills everything in for me. I can also make that my default template, so when I open up this report, it comes here automatically without me having to select the template. So you can also do that as well. You can also do it for the template and the print options as well. And then we also saw that if we go into the file maintenance and the infrequent file maintenance, we can go here to the sales order options. Again, this is also available on the purchasing side. I'm just showing it today in the demo on this side, but it works the same way. You can select your specific document, sales orders, invoices, when you're doing confirmation, counter sales quotes, and so on. What you can do is on the header, you can look at all the fields here, and you can do certain things. You can actually, for example, skip. You can skip over, like in this case, we skip the ship to because it's always one ship to for every customer. The way we do business, so we don't need to do that. You can have yes for edit, which means we can go into the field and do whatever we want. We can do a back into, which basically when we tab, it skips it, but if I alt-tab back, it'll pop back into that, so I can make a change to it, or I completely disable it. The other ones here, I can do the same principle, but then I have this other option here. Here, if I say screen, it means it'll show up on the main header screens, so I see it right there. If I say yes, it will not show up on the main header screen, but it'll be in the details. So the header details and the line details, it'll show there. If I put no, that's it. For example, these are all no, which means it's not even going to be there. You can't make any changes to it and so on. So you have that for the headers. Again, you have it for the lines. Again, the footers, the options, what you're seeing popped up. A lot of people don't want these little things to pop up every time they're entering an order. It just gets confusing. You can turn those off if you want by doing it here. Same with the line options. Again, what do you want to see? You want to see committed. You want to see on order, warehouses. You want to see pricing. Again, how you do your business, you can set it up to make facts very efficient and make order entry very simple. And again, same holds true on the purchasing side. Okay, so that kind of concludes our webinar today. Again, this is being recorded. It'll be available on our website, so you can visit us at www.michellgroup.com to view this as well as the others in our training series. And we thank you for your time.